Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
He's at the 20.
They should stop this one.
What you got? Domination, snot bubbles.
He throws, complete, touchdown. They've got him again. They've got him again. Sack Crumpler, what a throw, what a hit, what a catch.
Defense is just way too much for the count.
It's caught by Alshon Jeffrey for a touchdown. He pushes, touchdown. Jalen Hurts, touchdown. A.J. Brown, a run. He's going to score.
It's a touchdown by Nick Foles. The train is in the end zone.
Touchdown.
Torrey Smith
In for the touchdown is Jeffrey in. Touchdown. Jalen Hurts.
So while other teams in the East are sleeping, the Birds have been making a lot of moves as of late. After trading a 7th round draft pick for former Eagles, now former Jags swing tackle Fred Johnson, per Adam Schefter, and I immediately jumped up and down after this trade, knowing that Lane may be out soon, Lane Johnson that is, in the years to come, but also bringing Johnson back is a massive deal, and Howie didn't give up that much, if any, draft capital to get him. And last season, when Malata went down and we had to go against the Bengals, Fred Johnson really came in handy against Trey Hendrickson. He really held his own last season, and we're going to have to see him fill in for Lane, as I've said, in the years to come. And I think Johnson, now that he's back in Stoutland University, can do it. But there was even more shuffling yesterday with 3 moves that Howie made, pulling off a hat trick, and as he sent Darius Kennard to the Packers for a 6th round pick. So Kennard's out and Fred's in, and we waived DTR in a move that we over here at Eaglecentric talked about in our last video. We seen this coming, so DTR's out, and I'm not surprised. And the Eagles did make their final roster cuts of 2025, but it's going to be released officially tomorrow, Tuesday. But Dave Zangaro did release a report listing those guys. So here we are. With wide receiver Terrace Marshall, wide receiver Elijah Cooks, safety Maxon Hook, and running back Shunderick Powell. And then we move on to one that Howie finally got rid of is cornerback Eli Ricks, running back Keelan Robinson, and quarterback Kyle McCord. Running back Montrell Johnson, tight end Nick Muse, tight end E.J. Jenkins, offensive guard Kenyon Green, which was very surprising seeing as though we gave C.J. Gardner up for Kenyon Green, and quarterback DTR, who I just talked about, in safety Lewis Seen, and offensive lineman Darian Kennard. And I guess Tanner McKee's injury is a little bit worse than we thought, seeing as though the Vikings sent Sam Howell to the Eagles for 2/6 and a 2027 7th round pick. And it makes sense seeing as though Kyle McCord wasn't going to be the quarterback 3. And then it was even funnier seeing the Vikings make a move for Carson Wentz, which makes this 6th team, I think, since 2021, since getting traded from the Birds. Good luck to Carson Wentz.
Psych a lot.
Now, speaking of quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts ranked as number 19 in the top 100 by his peers in the NFL, making this his, 3rd or 4th time, cracking in the top 20, and a lot of people say, he's not even top 10, top 15? Well, this is his peers. Like I said, these are his peers who rank these, who vote on these, and they say, the guys that play against him and play with him, that Jalen Hurts is top 20 in the league. So there you go. And we don't talk much about Hurts, but I really do think this is an MVP caliber season for Hurts. He's officially getting into his prime, at least at the age of 27, 28 years old. Hurts is seeing it right now. I'm coming off a Super Bowl MVP. Man, the sky is the limit for Breeder 1. The Birds are making a ton of moves after releasing wide receiver Anaya Smith, and Smith is officially gone, with the Panthers looking to claim him off waivers. And this time, honestly, we can wish Anaya Smith good luck in Carolina. But the Birds also waived wide receiver / kick returner Avery Williams, wide receiver Taylor Morin, Tariq Castro Fields, and Holland Pierce. And Kendall Lamb found a new home with the Dolphins, as Miami is placing cornerback Cam Smith on NFI non-football injury list and re-signing offensive tackle Kendall Lamb. Now, there wasn't much a surprise about Anias' release because he just simply didn't do much to lock down a roster spot. And with the emergence of Darius Cooper in the offseason, in addition to the Birds going and grabbing John Mechie II, the proverbial writing on the wall was there. And Howie made some more moves today, re-signing long snapper Charlie Hewlett and waiving guard Trevor Keegan. And Keegan has had some injuries in the past, and similar to Anaya Smith, he just didn't do much in the offseason on the offensive line to secure a spot this season. After we drafted Keegan in 2023, I really thought he would have came into Stout U and flourished as a guard, but so far, Keegan hasn't even made the team. But I wasn't expecting him to be a starter or rotational player this season, so hopefully he clears waivers and we keep striving for whatever's missing with Keegan. But that made room for center Willie Lampkin, who the Birds claimed off waivers from LA Rams, and Lampkin was an intriguing prospect, has also faced some injuries in his past, Coming out of North Carolina, he was very intriguing though. I'm interested to see what stout you can make of him also. But speaking of linemen, the Birds have been rumored to be eyeing on some key guys that could really change my mind about the Eagles defense going into this season, with Ed Cracks reporting that the Birds may be eyeing defensive edge rushers Jalen Phillips and Trayvon Walker, saying with Walker, the Eagles may have to give up a 2026 first round pick, and Cracks even said the pick in the first round would probably be closer to the second round anyway, so maybe a first round, but maybe a 20s, late 20s overall pick. And seeing as though the Jags did trade their first round pick for next year's draft to get Travis Hunter, I don't see why Jacksonville won't budge. But that's not all, because Cracks also said the Birds could possibly include Keely Ringo in that deal with one of the 3 third-round picks they are looking to have next April. Now, the former UGA Bulldog would fit right into Fangio's system. Just some questions that I have, and one of them is, will Howie be willing to give all of that up? Seeing as though Ringo did make the roster, is that a package deal that Howie would be willing to do? But it means nothing. This is the time that Howie is traditionally known for making moves in, but Walker's salary cap hit is $11.8 million this season and $15.1 million next season. And another question that I have is, if Howie is looking to do this deal, will there be long-term ramifications? Because the Birds do have to pay Jalen Carter, who I know without a doubt is getting a contract next offseason, but Walker cap hit is so high, I only wonder, will it get in the way of how we paying other players down the line? But we know if any GM can manipulate the cap, it's the Wizard, Howie Roseman. And I'm all in for getting Walker because he's young at the age of 24, and he's put up over double-digit sacks with Jacksonville with 20 in the last 2 seasons. A dog on the D-line who's looking for a contract, which is why he's even being considered right now. Now, Jalen Phillips from the Miami Dolphins would probably be the more attractive option to Howie, seeing as though Phillips has had a pretty good NFL career, but as of late has missed a ton of games due to injuries, with 12 out of the last 34 games specifically. And that's really the knock on Phillips. But in the midst of those injuries and games, Phillips has had a pretty good season. He's finished multiple seasons with a good amount of sacks. 2023, he finished with 6.5, and he's had his career high in sacks in his rookie season with 8.5, but followed with 7 in 2024. And Phillips' contract wouldn't be nearly as much of a hit in terms of cap contractually, with the cap hit of $13.3 million, which could be an all for not signing for the Birds if Jalen Phillips doesn't work out in terms of help. But that contract would, could, and should most likely be filled with incentives. And with this being his final year in his rookie contract, the Fins recently signed Matthew Judon, who could be a replacement for Phillips in Miami. But man, if we could land either Trayvon Walker or Jalen Phillips, my concerns about the secondary and cornerback 2 specifically would go right out the window, because the pressure either one of these guys will put on teams and quarterbacks, especially Phillips if healthy, would definitely blanket the lackluster performance that might come out of the cornerback 2 position. And in my opinion, it's lit if Howie is really going to go all in on these guys. Now, the Birds' initial 53-man roster is out, and let's just say not everyone is happy about certain guys. And Howie is definitely molding and fine-tuning this roster right now, but I'm mostly excited for wide receiver Darius Cooper, who has risen up the depth chart in training camp in this preseason. Cooper has had no combine, no draft, no pro day, just a UDFA who worked and flourished, and now Cooper's chance to have a significant role in this offense with Kevin Patullo is now here, and I think he'll make a future star with the Birds. Book it. And the Birds signed these practice squad players, and the only one I just never understand is Patrick Johnson. But nevertheless, the Birds were at practice today, and some of the boys seen practicing per Zach Berman was Tanner McKee and Sam Howell. And Howell will probably wear number 14, as that was the number he was seen practicing with in practice. If anything changes, we'll definitely report it here. But A.J. Brown, Fred Johnson, no Drew Makuba, that was strange, and Lane Johnson was also seen on the field. But the injury report won't be out until Sunday, and even better news came in when we seen Landon Dickerson, who was practicing and going full speed. He looks good after that meniscus scare in Eagles open practice. Happy to have the big fella back. Now, everyone knows I hate talking about the scum in the NFC East, but this time I'm reluctant to tell you that the Cowboys still suck. But no, in all seriousness, Dallas has yet to reach an agreement with their star pass rusher in Micah Parsons, who at this point has asked for trades and expressed his thoughts about the Cowboys owner, Jethro Jones, and was even seen pregame eating nachos and even on the sideline laying on the injury table, I guess. at the Cowboys' last preseason game. And with tensions only rising, NFL insider Adam Schefter reported about 2 weeks ago that the future for Dallas may be a future without Micah, and with them not having their contracts signed with Micah for Micah, most likely he won't take the field against the Birds at the Lincoln Week 1. But that's not the case with the Commanders, because the Commodores wide receiver Terry McLaurin is no longer holding in, and he's locked up after Washington agreed on a 4-year, $96 million deal. And I don't think that hold in benefited Washington's locker room overall, and he definitely didn't benefit. But who cares? Just know that he's now secured in Chocolate City. We'll definitely get that Guantanamo Bay Terry McLaurin matchup this season. Just 8 days away from the season, the Birds are about to crank it up, and we're here with the Eagles ticket giveaways. And since we couldn't get the 2K, we're going to be doing jersey giveaways next. Also, be sure to subscribe to Eagles Centric, like, comment, share. You know the routine. Be blessed. Go Birds.